ॐ भद्रं कर्णैभिः शृणुयाम देवाः भद्रं पश्येमाक्षभिर्यजत्राः स्थिरैरङ्गैस्तुष्टुवागं सस्तनूभिः व्यशेम देवहितं यदायुः स्वस्ति न इन्द्रो वृद्धश्रवाः स्वस्ति नः पूषा विश्ववेदाः स्वस्ति नस्तार्क्ष्यो अरिष्टनेमिः स्वस्ति नो बृहस्पतिर्दधातु ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः. Let us pray together. We offer our salutations to the all-loving being who endows all beings with consciousness. We meditate on the Lord, who is the origin of the universe. Lord, Thou abidest in all. Thou art all. Thou assumest all forms. Thou art the origin and goal of all. Thou art the self of all. Thou art knowledge and bliss. Salutations unto Thee. May the world be peaceful. May the wicked become gentle. May all creatures think of mutual welfare. May their minds be occupied with what is spiritual and abiding. May our hearts be immersed in selfless love for the Lord. Peace, peace, peace be unto all. ॐ असतो मा सद्गमय तमसो मा ज्योतिर्गमय मृत्योर्माम् अमृतं गमय. ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः. Lead us from the unreal to the real, from darkness of ignorance to light of knowledge, from this limited existence to the unlimited, immortal existence. Om, peace, peace, peace. Tomorrow is the Memorial Day, friends, and so we will discuss something that is not exactly a Memorial Day, but has a connection with it, and that is the Memorable Day. There is a little difference between the meaning of these two. Memorial Day is we have an incident or certain people that we think of remembering as the two words, both as used as adjectives. That is how we say Memorial Day, means in the memory of somebody, some people, some incident. Then that is, we tell ourselves that we should remember them. That is how it is a Memorial Day. Like we say, well, the soldiers who have sacrificed their lives for protecting our freedom, our country, well, let us remember them. So that is Memorial Day. Memorial Day, it is Memorable Day is different in the sense there is no attempt that let us remember them. it has stuck into our memory. And we see that it should always remain stuck in our memory. Not that we have to keep on remembering with the conscious intention, but it is the memory is there, and we cherish that memory. All those days that we remember, or all the incidents that we remember, are not really memorable. Our memory has them, but we know that it is not a memorable thing. Memorable, that word is not used when it is something that we feel we should actually forget. A forgettable experience, but then it has stuck in our memory. Something unwanted, especially, you can see it becomes very tormenting at times when it is guilt, and the feeling of guilt. It is that is stuck there. Oh, I did this mistake. This thing was not right. It was wrong on my part. And then it led to some incident that was not good. So that memory is stuck. It comes again and again. I know that there is no use thinking about it. It's too late to think about it. But still, the memory does not leave us. We keep on coming back to that again and again. And so it is some other aspect of the memory is also called trauma, which is of this type, that it is stuck with us. Some very sad incident happened, some very scary thing happened, and it leaves a scar that doesn't quickly go away. So it keeps on coming back painfully to us. That is also what can be called as a stuck memory, but it is not a memorable thing. Memorable is something that we would be benefited by thinking again and again, something that gives us more positivity in life, let us say a direction, a purpose, strength to get to that purpose in life from that incident. So it is that can get this term, memorability. Our memory, what does it retain? It is a very difficult thing to judge, really, that what should I remember? It is usually that which is commonplace, the memory skips. Memory does not retain it. We have so many, daily experiences. If we just think of it, what did you eat for breakfast yesterday? Unless it is something very special, you would forget, I don't remember what did I eat. Maybe this, maybe that. Okay, because that is a regular thing and we skip over that. There is the very well-known story of a witness that it is, he was a witness in a criminal case, and he said, yes, I saw that this man was beating this other fellow. Yeah, I saw myself that this was happening. And then the judge asked, do you remember what was the color of the pants that this man was wearing? He said, no, I forgot. You forgot? Well, that happened a few years ago. And that was not important, I was not there to specifically go and see that incident and note down everything about it. I forgot. It is, the judge said, what, how can this, your testimony be acceptable if you do not remember these details? And then the witness asked, Your Honor, sir, how many steps are there to when you climb up to your courtroom? How many steps do you climb? And the judge got confused. I don't know. See, you climb those steps every day. Do you remember? No. So do you mean to say that you never climbed those steps? No, you climb it every day. It doesn't get in the memory because that is not a detail worth remembering. It is a commonplace occurrence, so it doesn't get stuck in the memory. Something very odd that you see, something that is very different that you normally see, may not be really attractive, but yet because of its oddness, because of certain special features that it has, it just carves a niche into you. You see an animal that you had never seen before, then oh yes, I saw a kangaroo here in Providence. Then that would be stuck in the memory. You don't see kangaroos around here. In Australia, it's different matter, they see it all the time, so they won't remember having particularly noticed a kangaroo. But here, well, it is a novelty, a speciality, so you will remember, yes, I have seen a kangaroo. So something very special that gets remembered, but it is not that all that is special is automatically actually worth remembering. What is worth remembering, what gives you really something in the way of a sunshine in life. A big cloud is removed, your life gets, so to say, as I mentioned earlier, some very important strength, some direction, and so forth. A very positive experience that not only remains in the memory, but you want again and again to go back to that incident as an immense source of inspiration and guidance. So that is what I consider as a memorable day. I had suggested to some members that they must be having many events happened in their life which are certainly they would consider them as memorable, and then they can come forward and say, tell those incidents. So let us begin from Charlie, and then Chet, you please follow, then Ritu, you can tell. You don't want to? Okay, Anna, what did your friend do? Okay, Charlie.
Namaste. Well, before I was involved with Vedanta, I was, among other things, a political activist. And after becoming involved in Vedanta, I was looking for a way to reconcile my political goals with my spiritual goals. So one day, and I believe it was the 4th of July, we were having a gathering at Raj and Dheeraj's house, and Swami Yogatmananda ji was speaking. And in the question and answer period, I don't usually ask questions, but But I said, I have a hard time experiencing God, but I do have an experience of liberty and equality. So how can I embrace something that I have little or no experience of? And Swami Yogatmananda ji replied that we cannot have liberty without God realization, and that we are only equal as children of God. And I hadn't mentioned the third prong, solidarity, but I think we could add that the only real solidarity is in knowing that we're all one. So that day, I realized that the political goals that I had been striving for could ultimately be attained through God realization. The goals of the European Enlightenment, liberty, equality, and solidarity, can only be realized through mystical enlightenment. And since that day, my political goals and my spiritual goals have been reconciled. Liberty, equality, and solidarity are the three ideals that societies are based on, either singly or in combination. In society, liberty by itself leads to greed, and you can think of the free market. Equality by itself leads to anger, and you can think of communism. And solidarity by itself leads to pride and feelings of superiority, and you can think of fascism and fundamentalism. When you have a balance of the three ideals, you get democracy, but people are thirsting for an ideal and will often not settle for a compromise. When we try to have a political ideal, it always backfires. Vedanta, on the other hand, has an ideal that transcends Maya, which it means Maya portrays the inevitable contradictions that make up the world. If we want liberty, we need to transcend the world. If we want equality, we need to transcend the world. And if we want solidarity, we need to transcend the world. We cannot have these in the world without their contradictions. In God realization, we can have our ideal without compromise. I learned that day at Rajan Dhiraj's house that we can pursue God by pursuing true liberty, equality, and solidarity. Thank you.
So my topic title is Memorable Memorial Day Musings. Okay. And it starts out when I was in Sunday school as a child, and I remember they were teaching the story of Adam and Eve. And even back then, as a young child, I said, this can't really be about a talking snake and a bite of an apple. So I thought then that maybe the forbidden fruit or that original sin that they kept talking about was really the acquisition of memory. It was years later, and perhaps I wasn't too far off even then, because years later when I read the Bhagavad Gita, it teaches there that the mind can be your best friend or your worst enemy. Often we let our minds bring memories, contaminate and distort the current future, the present. Pains, old hurts, losses project into the present as a fear of reoccurrence and a desire to prevent or avoid those past experiences. Pleasurable experiences, too, and fond memories project into the present as desires to relive or to hold on to someone or something or some place or some experience that we've had in the past. Some thoughts and memories are worth recalling, however, and as I thought about my remarks for today, I took the first four that came to mind in rapid succession because we're limited to just a few minutes for this talk. The first one that came to mind actually was a book I had read. It was Swami Yogatmananda's book, How to Overcome Mental Tension. I had read that some years back. And it was very appropriate, I thought, for today's talk, because, especially for Memorial Day weekend, because in one of the opening chapters, what he recommends to his devotees and students for overcoming mental tensions is to go take a walk in a cemetery. Take a moment to observe, look around. Realize that all of the markers there were once people like us with our own memories and hopes and dreams. And likewise, one day, those markers will be there for at least these physical bodies as well. So he gives a very important lesson there. This immediately triggered the Vedantic philosophical ideas. Seek the permanent in that which does not change. Seek the real and avoid the unreal, as Swami chanted a few minutes ago. And that all transients and compounds are unreal, according to Vedanta. For some reason, the next thought that came to mind after that was the teaching of Jesus that says, love the Lord thy God with all thy heart and mind and soul, and love thy neighbor as thyself. And on these two hang all of the law and the prophets. The fourth one that came in succession, actually, it's part of a bookmark. I think it came out as a Vedanta Christmas card some years back. I have it marking a book which I happen to read every summertime. And that quote, I'll read it to you as it appears on the bookmark. Do not fear, my child. As long as you remember me, your mother, why should you be frightened? Whoever has come here, whoever is my child, is already redeemed. Free yourself from all anxiety by entrusting your future to me. Never fear. Whenever you are in distress, just say to yourself, I have a mother. And I think this ties in very nicely with Swami Yogatmananda's opening, in that you want to hold on to that one thing, if you can remember every day, that makes that day full of life, supportive, encouragement, and gives you the energy to go on. So I think I will conclude with that. Thank you, friends.
Shravani joked that my memorable topic could be about the day my worst fear came true. Swami asking me to speak, even if only for 120 seconds-ish. Among other enlightening, wonderful teachings, Vedanta has taught me to cultivate an attitude of going forward. Sister Gita Prana from Ridgely, on one of her retreats here, said, you're scared? Go forward. You failed? Go forward. Life is unsure? Go forward. So this is me going forward. I told Swami that one of the most memorable days of my life was not a happy day. It was a stressful, scary, sad, emotional, difficult, heart-crushing day, a family crisis. Now, looking back at this memorable day, I am ever so grateful. Strong emotions tend to bind me, but I'm learning through scriptures, through Holy Mother, Swami, and other devotees to let go of that kind of bondage instead of dragging it around in roller skates. In Swami's lecture, What Really Belongs to Me, he said, everything belongs to God. Nothing is ours. I've surrendered that day to God. During one of my meditations, my mind wandered, and I said, sorry, lost, I got God. I sometimes magically speak reverse. What I meant to say was, sorry, God, I got lost. And then it hit me, ooh, that was a good one, a new slogan. Sorry, fear, sorry, anger, sorry, anxiety, I've got God. Feelings like anger, anxiety, fear are enemies to my spiritual practice, a yucky ocean of suffering, bondage. I now do my best and then give it to God, my ocean of pure bliss and mercy. Swami reminds us that God's grace is present in every minute, in every situation, memorable or not, and that life is for learning. Now I can see all the ways that grace was manifesting itself during that crisis. God was taking extra, very good care of us that one memorable day, and he continues doing so. Memorable, challenging episodes allow me to grow stronger and refocus on God. I know that now. I will continue to hold on tight to my practice, to God, and proceed ready for future memorable days. And I'll end with a quote that is similar to Chet's. It's from Mother Sarada Devi. She said, whenever you are in distress, only speak this to yourself, I have a mother. Thank you.
Thank you, Charlie. Thank you, Chet. Thank you, Anna. Now we have three more, whom I have requested if they can tell something about their memorable day. Vishwanath, then Atreya, and then today Nitya said, oh, I have an important, memorable day to tell about. Said, okay. So one after the other, you three please follow. Vishwanath.
I saw Swami Sarvakatananji for the first time in September 1968, almost 50 years ago. That was the first time I came to Vedanta Society. I had come just then from Mumbai. And then Swami Sarvakatananda was giving his Sunday service. I was a little late. As I walked in, I heard him say, "It is not your faith that matters, but your functioning. It is not your conviction that matters, but your conduct. And it is not your belief that matters, but your behavior." That was the very first sentence that I heard from Swami Sarvakatananda. These words spoken with so much of sincerity and seriousness, they have left an indelible impression on me. A few weeks later, I was accompanying Swami Sarvakatananda to visit a dear devotee of the Vedanta Society. This is Lillian Swan. She was a highly accomplished interior decorator in Chicago, and after her retirement, she had moved to Providence. And she was in Providence already for about 30 years. When I saw her for the first time, she was about 95 years old, living in the nursing home in East Providence. Lillian was resting in her bed. She greeted Swamiji with a big smile, grateful to see him regularly once a week. And Swamiji said gently, "Hello, Lillian," and sat very near her, took her frail hand in his hands. And Lillian, with her characteristic smile, said, "Swami, now I don't feel old at all." And Swamiji talked to her, gently stroking her hand, telling her everything about the activities of the center here. And all the while, I had witnessed a rare event, the Swami taking on the role of a mother. Lillian was a little young girl who needed reassurance, a girl who was looking for her lost mother. On that memorable day that I can never forget, I had the good fortune of seeing Swami Sarvakatananda, a great Swami, his motherly heart towards that 95-year-old woman. A few weeks later, we were visiting a sick devotee at Rhode Island Hospital. Just as we entered the Jane Brown building, where the devotee was recovering from a heart attack, we met the doctor outside. And Dr. Robert Bliss, in his early 40s, was a well-respected cardiologist, and Swamiji knew him very well. And all three of us walked in. Our devotee friend was reading a book, apparently totally absorbed in it. And Dr. Bliss greeted him and asked him about the book. Dr. Bliss took the book in his hand. He said, "Wow, this is an excellent book. I read it every day, at least a page or two. That is the way I maintain my sanity," he said. And saying so, he laughed out loud, turning to Swamiji. Both of them laughed. And the book was The Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna. That was indeed a memorable day for me. Thank you.
Good evening. As I am finishing my PhD today, I thought it is a nice opportunity to share a memorable incident that occurred to me in US. Before I came to US, I heard many mixed reactions from various friends and relatives from India that US is a very rich place, very self-centered place, not very helpful, and some said very nice things also. And I was not worried, but I was kind of cautious. And I was kind of looking for memories in US. So this incident happened last year when I was going back to India. I had a Qatar Airways flight at 10 p.m. from Logan Airport. So I packed my bags from my apartment here, and I decided to take MBT, a train from Providence to Boston South Station. I went to the train. I had two big bags, and it was a winter, so I had lots of jackets also. So I sat in the train, and it was a few minutes before leaving. I took out my jackets, kept in the hanger, and I settled in. And then the ticket checker came. I thought that I will buy the ticket in the train itself. Okay, then he came and asked me for the ticket. I said, okay, I will take out my money and I will buy. I searched my pocket. I don't have my purse. Okay, maybe it's in the jacket. There were many pockets in the jacket. I don't have the purse with me. The bag, no, I don't have the purse. And I was worried, like, what happened? I don't have money with me, and how will I go? Because if I miss the train, the flight, there is a very big chance that I will miss the flight too. So I said, like, I don't have money. Can I pay you when I get down at Boston Station? And the ticket checker said, no, that's not going to work. The only other option is you download the app from the train Wi-Fi, and if that works, that's good. And I switched on my phone. The internet Wi-Fi was so slow that I could not download the app. And by that time, the train started moving. I thought maybe he's going to get me out of the train in the next stop. And I was planning, okay, I will take Uber or something from the next stop. But he came and I said, this is what is going to happen. And another passenger in the front seat was looking at me. He was seeing what is going on. She was seeing what is going on. And she saw that the things are not going right. And then she suddenly said, okay, I'm going to pay for you. That was, the first reaction was, thank God. And she gave the money, and I was so relaxed. And she didn't knew me, and I also didn't know her. She was some unknown American woman, and she bought me a ticket. And then I said, are you going to Boston Station? Then I have my debit card, so I can get out money from station and I can give you back. She said, no, it's okay. This is that was 25th December. So she said that this is a gift from me to you. And it was such a memorable incident. And so what I really felt with such a conviction that although there are so much of superficial differences between various cultures in Europe, Asia, America, and languages, and all these things, but inner humanity is so similar and so connecting, and we naturally form bonds even when we don't know each other. I don't know her, she doesn't know me, and we never talk with, and most probably I will not recognize her again if I see, but I still remember her action, and that gives me so much of confidence in common humanity. So that was the incident I thought of sharing. Thank you.
I am Nitya Chakraborty. I'm a professor in UConn Med School. I teach med students, and I work with cancer patients for clinical trial. As my recognition, if you put Chakraborty NG in Google Scholar, you'll see what type of work I do. But I'm going to share the first one of the things that changed that day changed my life. I came from a poor family, and after BSc, I had to look for a job to feed my 7 members of my family. So I got a job as junior laboratory assistant in Calcutta Cancer Research. That was 77 March. I was 22 years old that time. And then within 2 months of my job in May, it was May, the department chair was changed. Department chair became Dr. Satyaranjan Bose. and he was a scary guy. People used to say he used to shout everybody, but he was a crazy scientist. So that day he was supposed to come. My seniors, some of them, they arranged something with the director and changed the lab. But since I was for only 2 months, I couldn't do anything. I was there. So he came, tip-top dress, and came in front of me. He came and he found me in front of him and said, "Hey, take off your shoes." I said, "Why? What kind of, take off your shoes?" Okay, I did stand up on my desk. There's a desk for him. Stand up. And then he opened the picture of Thakur wrapped in. I still cried when I remember that day. So put it on there, middle. He is in my head and he should be on the top of my head all the time. Just make it in the middle. And then this incident gone. A few minutes later he called me. "Come here. You are a BS technician, yeah. So do you want to study further?" I said, "I have to feed my family members, 7 members of my dad retired, I have another 5 brothers and sisters." "You took too much, stupid, donkey, goat. Did I ask you that? I asked you whether you want to study further or not." I said, "Yes, sir." And that is the change. He helped me to do MSc, PhD, and I didn't have to bother for money because he arranged everything. And I was getting full salary, and I did that. And when I published I got my PhD degree, I had 14 published articles, 6 in international journals, 8 in national journals, and that was the day he changed my life. And that time, I really was stupid. I didn't understand this Thakur is coming through him to me. And that day, what can be the more memorable day of one's life? That day. Thank you.
Thank you, all the friends who shared their memorable day. So much to learn, you see, from the story of each of us. I'm sure all of you also have a similar inspiring story. And just we got a glimpse that how in everyone's heart there is an ideal that one cherishes. And then when on some day, some very memorable day, some very memorable moment, one gets connected to that through some incident, and it remains the source of inspiration and guidance for the rest of our life. So it's a very important thing. It is, things become memorable to different people according to their, their spiritual evolution. I mean, the level of their awareness as to who they are, what can be called as their self-image in psychology, that term comes, that self-image. It was kind of invented or first prominently used by one psychologist, Marx. He wrote a book about psycho-cybernetics. So, this self-image is what you think about yourself. I am so and so. And then that decides your goals, your objectives, and you do not see anything beyond that, because that is how your spiritual vision is restricted. your understanding about yourself is restricted. So maybe somebody can imagine just this much, that I will become a very rich person, a very wealthy person. And so when one gets to get there, becomes a wealthy person, then, well, that is what made me, wealthy. That incident changed my life because, well, that incident told him how to become wealthy. And thus, since his goal was that person's goal was that becomes a memorable day. Somebody thinks that, well, yes, my ideal is this and this. And that depends on what my awareness about self is. When you get that awareness that I have to manifest divinity in life, I am divine and I have to manifest that divinity, then at that level, whatever pushes you in that direction, some very important thing happens, and then you see the light, as it were. You can see that very nice, that light gets shown. Hey, now I found the path. You see the light, and now you start walking in that direction with firm conviction, firm belief. It is so. When you get that ideal, somebody is, they are so sure that yes, I am going to see that truth. And when that happens, that is the memorable day. That yes, I saw that divine light, that all the ignorance was gone, all the separations were gone. There is nothing more to achieve in life. And so you see that incident as the most memorable day. There was a great saint, Jnaneshwar. He grew up in that Maharashtra region of India. Grew up means he lived for a very short time, and then he wrote some very, very popular treatises, and in one of them there are some short songs, and he wrote that, well, that is the golden day in my life. Golden day, what happened? It is a golden day, but not just golden. It is all permeated with immortality, that permeated with nectar. That day, what happened then? That today I saw God. Today I met God. That is the memorable day. That is what I was striving for. That happened on that day. Hari Pahila Re. That words, Marathi words are Hari Pahila Re, Hari Pahila Re. That it is today I saw the Lord. So it is, that becomes the most important thing in life, and that achieved. And now the life is filled with that sense of having made the life a success story. The life has become successful. There are so many, incidents like that happening. And one of the disciples of Sri Ramakrishna was Swami Shivananda. Mahapurush, Maharaj, he used to call because of his greatness. And he was being requested by a great writer, Roma Rolla, a Nobel laureate who wrote the biographies of Sri Ramakrishna and Swami Vivekananda, apart from many other well-known literary pieces. Now, for that he used to have some correspondence to get the proper facts and everything with Swami Shivananda, who was then the president of the whole order. And then he was so impressed by Swami Shivananda's personality and correspondence, he requested him that, please, can you tell me about some of the important milestones and important incidents in your life? And Shivananda said, well, in my ordinary life, nothing worth mentioning happened except one thing. On one day, I got to meet Sri Ramakrishna, and that filled my life with eternal bliss. That is the only thing that is worth mentioning in my life. So, because you see, you can understand from this saying that his utterance, that was the only important thing he considered worth thinking of in life, that is the only important thing, that I saw Sri Ramakrishna and that filled my whole life. I too, like you all, had many very memorable days, very important incidents that brought the assurance, the guidance and inspiration many times of the presence of God all around. God is there and looks after us. We should go forward without being scared, with the best intentions, right intentions, just march ahead, and God is with you. Let me just tell one incident of this type. Myself and two of my Swami friends, we were walking up to the very important, very well-known shrine of Lord Shiva, Kedarnath in Himalayas. It's a long uphill walk, and as we were walking, one young Swami, not from our order, some person joined us, one Swami. We never knew him before. And he started walking us. We started talking to him. And as we went there, we stayed at in a house that was just for free. They would let us stay, and we stayed there. And then next morning we came back. And then after coming back, we needed to take some food, and we had very little money. So we saw where they could give, we could buy some inexpensive food. So at one restaurant we saw that, well, whatever little money we have, we could buy something for our meals, and then still we will be left with enough money to buy the ticket for the bus. So we three sat, and at that time this other monk, he entered the restaurant and sat with us. Now the question is, we knew he also didn't have money. So we will be paying for him. Do we have that? What should be done? Should we tell him or what? Then we just came aside and discussed and decided. Well, he was with us. He came with us, And so we will be, let us see about bus and all, we will pay his bill also, we will do that. And so we got our food and all. And then as I went to that counter to pay the bill, at the counter I was told, no, you please go, somebody else has paid the expenses for you all four. So I thought that, look, somebody was thinking, somebody was, God was looking at these things and was managing. So we should not worry, we should do the right thing. We should do the right thing without thinking too much about do I have the money for it or not. The money will come if the things are right. So, and I found that very inspiring incident. So, this is how all our lives have many such great incidents, memorable incidents, and let us go back to them again and again, and also learn from the memorable incidents in the lives of other people to feel assured that yes, there is the divine around us, in us, around us, and everywhere. Let us feel that presence. So, friends, here I conclude the talk, and we will meditate for about half a minute or a minute, and then if you have a question, then please you can ask. Yes, please. Any of you have a question? Yes, John.
I heard a saying one time, pain cancels knowledge.
Pain?
Cancels knowledge.
Pain cancels knowledge.
So, like emotional pain could sometimes cancel wisdom, could trip you up. Let's say you have a good intention. You start off with a good intention, and then you could trip up. Fear could take over pain. Something like that. What's a good remedy against that?
A good question. Pain is very important in life as a teacher. It may give wrong signals because we do not use the teacher in the right way always. But pain tells us, what mistake did I do? My intentions were right, but maybe my method was not right. And so the pain tells us how to again take a new look at the situation. Pain is very important. Also, pain makes us strong, that if we are sure, yes, my intentions are right, my path is right, but it is a painful path. If you are, say, driving on a Friday late afternoon, say from Boston to Providence, it is not a very pleasant drive, terrible traffic jams, and then instead of 1 hour, you can easily have 2 hours plus. So, it is, what I mean is, that teaches us patience. It is pain. But we know, well, this has to be surmounted. The life has its pleasurable moments, painful moments, but we have to be tough in life so that the pain won't deter us from our path. So pain has this utility, this use also, that pain makes us become tough, strong, to take up the challenges. Usually you see that people who never had to face tough situations in life, they just fall down. They are just blown away when some winds of pain come in their life. But when we see that the utility of pain, and then we go ahead, like they do the exercise, pain provides an exercise. So it is, you go ahead and that makes us strong. So this is how we can probably take a useful and positive look at pain in life. Thank you. Anything else? So I request Vishwanath to begin his offertory, and let me give you some information of the upcoming programs. We have on coming Sunday, there is a very special guest lecture. You might see the poster about it. It is kept, posters are hung outside about the important lecture that is happening next Sunday. That will be, the topic is that Vairagya, dispassion, an important, an essential spiritual practice. Dispassion or Vairagya, essential spiritual practice, by a speaker whom you have heard a few times here, a wonderful speaker, makes the point so well, is Sukalyan Sengupta. He is sitting right here. So he will be giving next Sunday's lecture. The Tuesday and Friday Vedanta classes will go on as usual. The Tuesday topic is that Sri Ramakrishna and his divine play, and Friday topic is Jnana Yoga, the yoga of discernment. So, and then next Saturday, the coming Saturday, there will be a day-long meditation that you can read the information about it. So, day-long meditation, those who want to practice sitting and meditating for longer hours, it is from 11 o'clock, the regular guided meditation and all begins, and then from 12 o'clock till 8 o'clock in the evening, whatever time you want to sit, you can sit for meditations. So, and then there is a day-long spiritual retreat coming up by Pravrajika Brahma Prana from Texas, Dallas, Texas, Vedanta Center of North Texas in Dallas. So she is going to speak about the yoga psychology. So it is how to manage the mind in the yoga way. So for this, attending this retreat, one has to register. So please go ahead if you can attend this retreat. Please go ahead and register in the office, or you can register online as well. Let me conclude with the closing prayers. Then there will be our regular arati, and you are all then invited after that to join in the soup supper. May the Divine, who is Father in heaven of the Christians, Holy One of the Jewish faith, Allah of the Muslims, Buddha of the Buddhists, Tao of the Taoists, Great Spirit of the Native Americans, Ahura Mazda of the Zoroastrians, and Brahman of the Hindus, lead us from the unreal to the real, from darkness to light, from death to immortality. May the all-loving being manifest himself unto us and grant us abiding understanding and all-consuming divine love. Peace, peace, peace be unto all.